Hello out there. I hope you guys are having a very exciting day. From here at the M4S studio, it's always upbeat, where we bring the biggest minds in sports and other spheres of life to talk with us. Today we'll be sharing our thoughts with one gentleman. He's been in the business of sports for a very, very long time. When you talk about rights, when you talk about events organization, if you even talk about the latest performance of the Super Eagles in London, he has always been the part and parcel of the success stories of football in Nigeria and probably to a large extent the continent. And of course, he's a major player in the media space. Let's welcome Rotimi Pedro.
Good evening. Yeah. Good evening.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you. My pleasure being here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how has it been? Over the years, you have been a consistent player in the media space, especially when it comes to rights. How has it been? What really brought you into that space?
Yeah, it's a bit of a journey. I think my journey in that space started about 1999. When we acquired the Olympic rights for the 2000 Olympics, about 26 years back from NTA. And we've not looked back since then. It's been a great experience. Nigeria's rewarded me. We've had our ups and downs. We've had our challenges, but we always keep our head above the parapet and make sure that we go on to the next thing. So it's been a journey. It's a lovely space to be in. It's quite an environment that still needs a lot of development, a lot of initiatives, and we are working night and day to make sure that Nigeria lives up to its rightful place in the sports community.
Well, quite interesting. When you look at the rightful space in this, we're struggling to make it to the World Cup.
Yes.
We always struggle.
Yeah.
Why is this? Is it that we're not putting the right investment
Yeah.
to back up her? Because we seem to have a lot of talents out there. But really, why are we not getting right?
I think for over the years we took it for granted that we would always qualify, and the rest of Africa, our qualifying base has maybe more or less caught up with us. I don't think there are any minors anymore in African soccer, as we all know. African Cup of Nations is now rated the second subcontinental tournament next to the Euros. So in terms of global audience delivery. So yeah, I mean, you have 8 or 9 countries. Then now is a 10-man and 9 qualifying, 9-nation qualifying, and the likelihood that we may miss it, but I'm still hopeful though that we might just squeeze through as we normally would do. I mean, normally, but to miss 2 in a row for the sports community, it's something that we don't even want to think about.
No, it's actually going to be very disastrous for sport-loving Nigerians and the continent, because the world actually look forward to Super Eagles. Even if we don't play well, our jerseys,
it's the brand.
They make a whole lot
Super
of
Eagles
difference.
is a big brand globally. I mean, and you might not know anything about Nigeria, but you know about the Super Eagles. Now maybe we are crossing over as well in terms of music, in terms of our food. But the first subculture that crossed over was our sport towards the Super Eagles. So the Super Eagles that made the mainstream from the Atlanta 96, France 98, then our music and our food is following behind. But it seems our sport is lagged behind. And the idea of the Unity Cup is to put that back on the global stage, our sports back on the global stage, to make sure that it's right at the center of where it's all happening in Europe, in America, North America, everywhere. So we need to be able to export our sport beyond. I said the first brand that we actually exported properly in terms of our subculture was the Super Eagles. That was the first thing that crossed over into the mainstream. You see Europeans, you ask anybody about Nigeria, the first thing that comes to their mind is Super Eagles. Just the same way you ask anybody about Brazil, the first thing that comes to mind is sport, it's football. When you mention Brazil, it's football, then samba. Now it used to be sport, it used to be Super Eagles, then now maybe you can say Afrobeat. But we need to actually make sure that we are not lacking behind Afrobeat.
Well, some of us call sports, and I call it sportainment, because if you don't mix sports and entertainment, you may not catch the Gen Zs of today.
Absolutely.
I saw how you mix it with music and football at the London event.
That's correct.
So let's talk about the Unity Cup.
Great.
What really inspired it? And why was it just those 4 nations?
Yeah, I happened to spend quite a number of my life in the UK, and I looked in the environment I was studying and I was living in the UK. Then I realized that there was a bit of a dichotomy between the black community. When we started the Unity Cup 22 years ago, 23 years ago, then we thought, okay, look, why not do something that can bring these two communities together. It was a bit of a rivalry, we don't see eye to eye. So the idea was actually from that point that we felt, okay, let's just try to bring the community together. Then we did the first one, Nigeria, Jamaica. We call it the Unity Cup in 2002 or thereabout. Yeah, and that was the first one, and resounding success. We had about 18,000 people in the stadium with 3-4 weeks to plan it. So then we realized that, okay, football as a unifying factor can actually bring the community together. So then we lost our gaze off the ball for about many years. We did another one in Charlton with Ireland, Jamaica, and that one was successful as well. We had about 37,000 people in the stadium over the three match days. Then we thought, let's just go face football rights back in Nigeria. Then I came back to Nigeria full time, and then I started working in the right space. Then, last 2 years ago, we realized, okay, look, the concept is still relevant. And then we faced a lot of challenges when we were doing it many years ago. Our policing bills were so huge because they've never seen that sort of novel idea. Yeah. We were the first people that actually started bringing neutral countries into a different territory to play. And that we started with Nigeria, Jamaica. Then people like Cantaro Sports came behind us. They started taking Brazil on tour. We were the first people that they did Brazil and all over the Europe. Now we're back in that space that we're going to be taking African teams on tour across Europe. We're hoping to be able to expand the concept of the Unity Cup to France, to the North America, wherever there's any dichotomy of ethnic tension. Football can play a role to actually harmonize that tension, as you can see from that colorful event in London 4 weeks ago, where everybody was just about the culture. It was just a place to be, watching international football and dancing to Burna Boy, dancing to Stylo G, dancing to Bob Marley, all in that space of culture. It was a mix of culture.
And just taking it from there, if you throw back during the Nigerian Civil War, there was actually a 3 days break from the war because Pelé was visiting Nigeria. So what you just said resonates.
Absolutely.
That sports, football especially, can actually unify countries and bring peace. Maybe we should look at it in the northeast, in the southeast, where we're still struggling with security.
I was speaking to my friend, the chairman of the Sports Commission, a few weeks ago, and he was telling me about his story about how in the heart of the Boko Haram in Kano, they took football there in Maduguri, and they played a game there. And for that league, there wasn't any. Everybody came out. Boko Haram too came out and watched football. Everybody was. So yes, it is a powerful tool. As you can see, even from the World Club, it's something that can bring communities together. The world just stops when it comes to football. We all want to actually play. See the 22 people on the field kicking a rubber ball around with the most difficult part of the anatomy, the legs. So that's the uniqueness of football. And everybody wants to say, okay, you're not doing it with your hands, you're doing it with the most difficult part of the body, the legs. So that's the uniqueness of football, and that's the ability to it has a great ability to unify people.
Fantastic. But again, we have to look inwards, because in as much as we talk, currently the Super Eagles is 99% foreign based. There's something not happening in our league. Is it that we're not producing enough talents? Or is it a coaching issue? Or is it the economy that is affecting the league? Or local football? Let me use the word local football.
I believe it's an investment issue. I believe nobody wants to put the investment in place to actually make sure we turn this around. And I think we are being bedeviled by that culture that's permitted the whole society of now, reward now. I want to get the reward now. I think over the years we've lacked the necessary investment in that football ecosystem that can actually back the goods. And we're hoping to turn that around at some point. But it's important that we understand that the last 20, 25 years or 30 years, I grew up in this city of Lagos, and I remember the days of superstores, Super Stationery, and I remember Bendel Insurance. I keep telling the story in is it 1980 in African Cup of Nations final. I was a boy of age 11, or I think 9 or 11 then. and I had to go to the stadium with my brother, my older brother, National Stadium. We had to get to the National Stadium at 10 o'clock. The door shuts at 12, and the match starts at 4. So you stay on your seat for the next 6 hours. When you get there at 10, you bring your gala, you bring your thing, you stay on your seat
and
watch the game and wait for the 4. And that's how popular football was then in terms of what you need to do to get into the stadium early. And we got there. My brother inadvertently actually stood up at some point in time, and it was pushed down
I remember
all the way,
yeah.
and he found himself down, and somebody celebrated him. That was how passionate people were about football. And same thing with Enugu Rangers, Bendel Insurance. I mean, we watch all of it. This Team National Stadium is an iconic venue that needs to be brought back to these old glories.
Well, to be honest, National Stadium is another issue, because even the Abuja Stadium, which is a more recent stadium, I know Aliko Dango, they put in some money. I don't know really what happened. Because the Super Eagles cannot, it wouldn't be allowed by FIFA or CAF for the Super Eagles to use that facility. So the whole Nigeria is using Uyo Stadium. I mean, this is a serious issue. The league clubs who qualify for CAF go to Uyo Stadium. The Super Eagles go to... So what is going to be the fate of those stuff?
Sad that that's the only FIFA-approved stadium in the country currently. The idea is to, I mean, I'll tell you a story. When you look at when I'm talking about investment in the league, I mean, and I will use the story to illustrate it. The current value, commercial value of our league is about what they get, about $1 million or $1.5 million in rights fees. That's the current commercial value. You put $2 million on it. The South African league is currently valued at about $176 million. Yeah, that's the commercial returns they get every year. If you look at the two countries, in South Africa, which you know very well, there are 3 sports that share the passion. There's cricket, there's rugby, and there's football. They share the passion almost equally. In Nigeria, it's number 1 is football, number 2 is football, number 3 is football. Football. Maybe second, boxing or athletics. Then basketball. So there's a huge gap. The population of South Africa is about a third of Nigeria's. 48 million or 48 million to 200 million. The economy is about the same as well. I mean, maybe 1.2, factor of 1.2 of Nigeria. I mean, 1.2 to Nigeria, about the same. Yet the dichotomy is that how do you explain the fact that the league is almost like 1/1000 in value of the South African league? What that tells me, there's a huge value to be unlocked. It's just being able to connect the economy, which is about the same size as South Africa, the people, passion of the people to the sports. We've not connected it.
Yeah, in as much as we've not connected
and that means
it,
investment.
Yes, and I keep asking, what does the Nigerian middle class want? What do they do? If there is still a middle class, actually. What do they want to see? I'll give you an example. When Ikorodu United, we set up Ikorodu United, Deumi Ogunsa was the chairman. And we were able to sell season tickets. And we're making over 70 million per season.
Okay, interesting.
So I still believe there is, but again, the value of the currency, the disposable income of average Nigerian has dipped so badly. So the share of the pockets has become an issue.
Absolutely.
What would you want to spend your money? Is it to eat and survive? Or to go and watch football? So what must we do differently to attract the middle class who have a little income? Because you go to a national stadium, for instance, for about 100,000 people, about 10 toilets. So what happens? So these are something that are basic. But if you don't fix those things, you want to take your girlfriend or your wife or your children to see a game, and they don't have access to basics.
Basic things, Even food, I mean, proper food in the stadium, you have to eat beside food if you, I mean, this sort of thing.
No, those one can be fixed.
Catering,
Those ones can be fixed.
But I mean, it still boils down to a major investment. And being able, I've always said something that what's the price of anything in the world is a function of the value you give to it, how you create value. So anything could be 1 naira, anything could be 100,000 naira. Depends on how you perceive the value. And that's where the work of you and I, marketing, how you create the value. In this same country, people still go to a Burna Boy concert and they buy a table for
Yeah,
5,000.
5 million.
5 million, maybe 5 million. Yeah, still the same country.
Yeah.
You see the Dirty December thing and the amount of injection into the capital. But we have not created a product for the Nigerian middle class to actually take as their own. And that's the idea of, fusing music culture into sport. Take it away, polish it a little bit, take it away from what it is, just mere football. Mix a bit of music with it, mix a bit of promotion with it. We need to put a lot of marketing investment, infrastructure investment in place, human capital development investment in place to actually maybe to turn it around. And we're hoping that, the new government would actually listen to the message that we are trying to pitch. That
I'll take you back a little, because I know in the media you talk about the 100 billion naira investment in football in Nigeria. I don't know how that has been. I know you worked. I saw the brief from the NNPC at that point in time. Of course, there has been a change in board. How do you want to take this to the next level?
By and large, it's a presidential initiative. That I've happened to stumble upon to help out in fashioning how it would unravel. By a year and a half ago, I got a call to actually help out in making sure, on the back of the promise that the president made to the Super Eagles. After they won the AFCON last AFCON. They came second last AFCON. And he probably committed himself to trying to redevelop the league. It's been a roller coaster of a journey since then. So we tried to get the best practices, look at what needs to be done, did a bit of research, and realized, okay, look, the main problem here is a lack of long-term fund in the system that can build facilities, create facilities, put a lot of structural deficiencies in place. Three deficiencies that I talk about. The political will is there now. Hopefully the funding will be there, and we are hoping that the expertise to actually do this is going to be there. We are in discussion with quite a number of international companies to actually try to help in the capacity building and in developing the blueprint for the game. In terms of the local consumption of the game, as opposed to the international. International, we're not doing too badly, but at least we still hold our own. Players still get signed up in big leagues abroad. But in terms of developing the local league and the local football consumption economy itself, the sports economy locally, is what the initiative is all about, and it's about raising the level of the game. The analogy I use most of the time is the Indian Cricket Premier League, 46 million valuation in about 2021 when IMG got involved. Now we're getting franchise sold at $6 billion. One franchise, even more valuable than the Manchester United. Manchester United. So that's how that's what the value of unlocking, connecting the passion of the people. And India has a similar analogy with Nigeria. It was raw. It was cricket. That's all they knew. Then in Nigeria, it's football. So it's just a question of connecting, and the economy is there. Connecting the economy to the passion of the people, and the expertise that created that is what we're trying to bring to bear in Nigeria to make sure that, we are able to turn this thing that we call football that we love so much and make sure that, we don't have to go outside. You don't have to consume international football all the time. There's football local in your base in South Africa. It's a good experience. There's international football. But the PSL is still very important to the average South African.
No, so, it's amazing how it is, because if you look at super sports, for instance, those three sports, rugby, cricket, football, drive subscription. And I hope this will also happen very soon in Nigeria. And then we'll begin to see the fruits. And then that's why television is also critical. Currently, the league is not technically on television. I don't know what we're going to do, but I know people like you, Mikey Temagbo, Bega, the CEO of the league, all talk Shoname, and a lot of people are talking and say this is a time to push this league to the next level and maybe save Nigerian Super Eagles.
Football, sports generally. Another analogy I use that there was FIFA World Cup before television. There was Olympics before television. Nobody recalls or knows anything about those Olympics. But the moment television came in, exponentially, FIFA World Cup grew. and Olympics grew. So put television in anything. It takes it away from the 5,000-seater stadium, 15,000-seater stadium.
100 million.
A good example, Unity Cup, the total people that consumed in the stadium, was about 38,000 people. Yeah. But it went to over 50 million people across the world, thanks to the likes of Supersport. So without a television production, we would be consuming it about 57, and the economy would be much smaller. So the same thing, put television, proper production houses into the league here, make sure it's produced properly. Then you see how this would explode exponentially. Same thing with the Premier League. When I was studying in England, people forget that it was almost like match of the day was the program. It was the only 2 matches that was produced and that's how Match of the Day grew exponentially, because that was a compendium of all the other matches in the league produced by BBC. That's what everybody queues up on Saturday evening to watch. Just like in Nigeria now, only 2 matches were produced. Then the birth of the Premier League started when all the matches were put on television. Then that was IMG put it. They've just
somebody put up the investment.
The government put up the investment to refurbish the stadium, put up proper infrastructure, and that was after Hillsborough. Don't forget, the Hillsborough disaster was a catalyst to them. So no, we got to make all our stadiums all-seater stadiums. We got to make everything comfortable, change the face of the game. That was the legacy of Hillsborough. And that's when the new Premier League came. 10 matches produced every week, and that exploded it globally.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll say very big thank you to you.
Thank you
for this great moment. Of course, when you're talking about the Hillsborough and all that, we'll also say this is a big challenge to the president and the current government. Invest. Margaret Thatcher made it happen.
Absolutely.
So President Tinubu can make it happen for us in this country. Of course, we'll catch up some other time as we'll have a great moment to talk on other very touching issues that affect the life and well-being of Nigerians, especially when it comes down to sport. Rotimi, thank you.
Anytime. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Yeah.